Hello, everybody. This is Ryan. I'm going to be taking over where Nick left off and set up a Amazon RDS instance. One of the prerequisites to set up an instance is having an EC2 server up and running. They're fairly easy to configure, so I'll let you guys do it yourself. You really don't need anything too fancy, just the minimum of the minimum. Make sure when you set it up, you keep track of which security groups you're part of and stuff like that, because you'll have to come back to it with your RDS instance. Come on, go back. Now go to RDS instance. Now I already have one up, so I'm just going to walk you through the setup process, and then I'll use the instance that I have. You want to select Launch DB Instance. You have a choice between MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, or SQL Server. Since we've been using SQL Server a lot in class, I'm going to select that. You then have to choose between which engine you want to use. In order to fulfill the requirements for the free tier service, SQL Server is probably the one you want. If you want to pay for stuff, which I don't know, we're college students, so I don't think you want to, you can select the other three. And I believe MySQL, it's under a free tier. So go back to SQL Server, select SQL Server Express. Then you just have to go through the things line by line, make sure that you know what you're doing. So your DB engine is SQL Server Express, which is what you already selected. If you chose a higher tier database, you could select a different license. I don't really understand this part very much, so I just go with the default with that, even if it is a higher tier. Database engine, you probably want to have a more up-to-date one. I believe this one, yeah, there's 10.50 point something another, and then there's 11.00. I'm assuming this one's newer, so I'm going to leave it at that. DB instance class, this is another important thing if you want to stay cheap and or free. Smaller the better with that. Since I'm not going to do anything too fancy, I just want to have the micro instance. Multi-AZ deployment, that's more technical stuff, which you probably don't really care about. You just want to get this thing up and running. Storage type, you get to choose which type of storage you want. You get your SSDs, and then you have magnetic. We're CS majors. We should know the difference between the three. So I just going to leave it at default. So allocate storage. This is how much storage is going to be on a hard disk. The most you can do with SQL Server Express is 20 gigabytes, and that's also the minimum for it because they don't give you a choice. The cheaper ones is less gigabytes, kind of obvious. For a free tier, you can't have more than 2 gigabytes. Then you want to name your DB instance. I'm going to name it bar. Master username or Pete. Password, just make sure you have a good password that you're not going to forget. Confirm it. Then you go to next step. Okay, this is where when you set up the EC2 instance, you want to make sure you pay attention to what you were doing. Like, yeah, because we totally paid attention to that. We just kind of click through things. Make sure your VPCs and subnet groups are what you selected during the setup process. This part took me a while to figure out, so it's a lot of trial and error. I suppose if we were network majors of some sort, we'd probably do this like it's the back of our hand, but it took me a while to figure this out. So when in doubt, just select everything that you created yourself and not the stuff that EC2 or RDS creates for you. Availability zone. Since it knows I'm on the West Coast, it gives me a selection of the where we're at. So just really, I don't have any preference, so I'm just going to leave it at default. Database options. You can, I think you can select the port. Yeah, you can select the port, but the general consensus is 1433 is the TCP IP port, which you'll need later when you want to go connect to this. Parameter group, obviously it doesn't give you much choice, so just select whatever's default. Okay, backup. You don't necessarily need if you don't want it. I have it, actually I've set mine to have no backup. Maintenance, just leave it default. Next, what you want to do is hit launch DB instance. I already have mine set up, so we don't have to do that. I just was walking you through how to set up the basics, and I'm kind of a cheapskate, so I don't want to spend money. Okay, as you can see here, here's my DB instance. This is the stuff I have it set at if you want to look through it. I believe, let's see, this VPC I believe is one I had to create for it to run. Here's all the, here's all the details about it. You want to look at what I have set out, just pause it. Really, the only thing you really need to worry about now is this. This is how you connect to the SQL server. Mine's foo.cwp251.deggi.us2.rds.amazonaws.com, port number 1433. Now I'm going to launch SQL server on my local machine and connect to it. And it loads. There we go, result. Ooh. So for, usually the default would be this. You want to select SQL Server Authentication, and you want to enter your instance that you create. I already connected to this several times, so I already have it here. So this part right here, I want you to make sure you pay attention to. On Amazon RDS, it's :1433. You want to have comma 1433. Don't ask me why. It just works. That's all I care about. So you want to make sure you have your login name and you enter your password. If you want to connect to this, it's my username's rpete and my password's foobar23. I know, creative. And it should have all here's your server, here's your databases. I've been using this throughout the term, so I have a bunch of all the Contoso University databases, as well as our Cowboy database for the practice midterm. I actually connected my 420 projects database, which was a Java application, to this. It's just filling around with JDBC connections, but it worked, so I'm happy. And I actually had quite a few. Whoops, you don't see that. Here's actually this isn't for our class project. This is for my 420 project. Here's my midterm, and I don't know what this is. I think they made it yourself. But yeah, that's how you do things with Amazon Web Services RDS instance. You could use it just like any other database. You just want to make sure you don't put things in a giant loop to repeat over and over again, because that'll eat up your allowance for, I think you have an allowance of like 10,000 connections or something like that. If you want to read up on it, it's fairly available. So this has been Ryan Peterson. Thank you for listening to Nick and I's presentation on Amazon Web Services. As you can see, there's quite a few other applications that you can play around with. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. I know S3 is used a lot for distribution of software, but uh, I encourage you all to create a account and fiddle around with this. Thank you for your time, and see you later.